Hey everybody, today I wanted to post a video showing how I improved on my art studies, so you can too. I'll break it down into a few tips, okay? The first artist that I'm referencing is HEYY. When I went in for the sketch, I was heavily referencing one of her drawings and used liquify to fix anything that looked really off. My first tip would be to think about what's so captivating about the art that you're referencing. For me, I think HEYY's eyes and hair really look amazing, so I focused on that but didn't hyperfixate on it because it's still just a sketch. The next tip I have might be a little controversial, but it would be to color drop the colors. Stealing art is when you trace over someone else's work and claim it as your own, but you can't copyright things like art styles and color palettes. If you're doing an art study and heavily reference a piece, and you say that you are, it's completely fine to use the same color palette and color drop to get closer to the artist's piece, especially if you specify this is the art that I'm referencing. My next tip would be to break things down into easier shapes and worry about adding details later. If you try hard to recreate something in a sketch, you might find it looking off. It's the same way how teeth and mouths look worse if you add every line and crack. Simplify the shapes and let the colors in the rendering phase add detail. The next artist I'm referencing is Sam Does Art. So I posted an art study on him in a short not too long ago, but for this one, I basically completely duplicated the art piece he made without tracing anything, and then made another piece using the same techniques from just memory, which looked a bit different. Now, I don't know anything about you, but for me, every time I see a Sam Does Art drawing, and then I look at my drawings, I feel like laying down on a train rail. But doing these studies freehand and proving to myself that, hey, I can do that too, makes me feel a bit better. So for this one, I really oversimplified the shapes and actually sketched on top of the silhouette. You can always change the shapes with tools like lasso and liquify, so really focus on where the color placement is. What I do sometimes and recommend is to look at the colors used and try to find them on your own, and then color drop it to see how close you were to it in comparison. If you weren't close, correct it and take in the new knowledge about one of art's greatest enemies, color theory. A lot of artists say to work on things simultaneously, but personally for me, it works better when I focus on how the artist drew one thing, finish it, and then move on to the rest. And then at the end, I'll retouch up everything and make sure it goes together cohesively. Just really try and notice how the artist does certain things, where they place the shadows, where they add extra colors, what colors cause that. Like as you can see, some of the shadows are purple, but that is the result of blue being added on top of red and orange. Try to understand where the light source is coming in. The hair is covering the right side, so the light only reflects on the left. But on the right side of her face, the lighting is showing because that part isn't covered by her hair. It's all just sort of looking how things relate to each other. Pay attention how the artist renders. If you want to look and really see how an artist makes something look good in their style and how they make it work, pay attention to how they add the details. And another tip I want to say is if you're doing an art study, don't be afraid to go off the script. Sam Does Art, he doesn't add spiky eyelashes, but I added them to my drawing because I like that. So just because you're heavily referencing an art piece doesn't mean you can have some creative liberty of your own. Add things that you like, pick colors that you think are cool, add details that are unique to you, because then that makes it easier to incorporate their techniques into your drawings. One thing I would like to point out is that you should avoid heavily referencing just one artist's art style all the time, because then instead of developing your own creative art style with things unique to you, you may find yourself struggling to draw without drawing in their art style. And there's nothing wrong with having this art style similar to another artist, but you might feel bad realizing that you're having trouble drawing things unique to you that you like and are special in your art style. That was a problem that I had for a while when I was struggling to figure out what style I wanted to draw in. I tended to just heavily reference other artists' art and would end up with a basically identical drawing. Basically, just reference multiple artists and multiple art styles, use different techniques, different colors, different things in your art, so it's like a mashup of different styles instead of just one. That gives your art more character and makes it more unique to you. And don't set rules for yourself just based off how one artist draws. If an artist you really admire likes drawing in saturated colors, that doesn't mean you can only draw in saturated colors. Don't limit yourself and your creativity and potential just based off how another artist draws. It's great to reference and take technique, but don't cheat yourself on potentially creating something new. So those are a few of my tips. Thank you for watching, it means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.